Oh, that Garfield cracks me up every time. What else do we have here? We got the political cartoons. That one makes fun of the French. Ugh.
Political art has been a staple way in the modern era in order to show criticism and poke fun towards political figures as well as social and economic inequities. But what did it look like in the past, and how does it hold up today? Political art has been used for centuries, well back into the Middle Ages, in order to show these inequities, and it existed in several different mediums. However, the art of the time tended to be much darker and a whole lot more confusing than what we see today. Seriously. Ugh, take that outside. Ugh. Right then.
Let's take a look into the unsettling and bewildering world of medieval political art. To begin our journey, we start off in the midst of a plague. Allow me to paint a picture for you. It's 1347, and the bubonic plague is sweeping Europe's shores. People are sick, quarantining in their homes, while men cosplaying as birds, huffing rosemary and thyme, roam the streets. Seeing one enter your town signifies your probable death. Those infected getting high fevers and chills as their body begins to swell, forming welts and sores. But while you cower in fear locked away in your home, the wealthy are hosting extravagant parties within the confines of their homes, laughing as there's no way the plague would come for them as it did the other riffraff. The clergy in this time isn't much better. Locked away in the chambers of their churches, they sit, praying for your eventual health. God loves them more, of course, so there's nothing for them to fear. This high and mighty stance taken against the plague, of course, would lead to some outrage among the common folk, creating an art form called Danse Macabre, or the Dance of Death. This art form portrayed those of a higher authority meeting with their death as they were danced away to their graves, poking fun at their pride, the sheer horror on their faces as they find they weren't as safe as they thought. While direct attacks on social inequities stayed as the norm in the pre-Reformation era, by the 1600s it began to fall out of style, and there was a shift towards religious themes. Jumping forward a bit in time, let's take a look at some of the political art surrounding religion during the Reformation. One such example is that of Les Songes Drôlatiques de Pentagriel, or The Drolatic Dreams of Pentagriel. Published in 1565 by French bookseller Richard Brenton, the book features around 120 woodcuts of disturbing imagery aimed towards mocking Catholicism. Not much is known about the book or its drawings, as only a select few of them have any actual writing around them. It doesn't help that the most likely author, François Rabelais, author of Life of Gargantua and Pentagriel, a story which focuses on the life of a giant named Gargantua, and his son Pentagriel, died in 1553, leaving more questions than answers about the origins of our book. Is it a sequel? Prequel? Is it unrelated altogether as a cash grab for Richard Brenton? Probably. I have no idea. Let's get into the art. As we look through the drawings, they become weird. For some, it's easy to tell what's going on, and then you get drawings like this. Shoo, get out of here. But for other drawings, given that this came out during the Reformation era, an era of change and separation from the Catholic Church, what's going on becomes clear, as it pokes fun at Catholic ideologies, such as this drawing, which seems to feature a priest of some kind with bird feet. While unsettling on its own, it most certainly would have terrified a Catholic priest at the time, as it would have been deemed an abomination for its humanoid appearance and animal features. as well as phallic symbols and sexual overtones, which increasingly add to the already weird nature of this book. Art from this era wasn't just used to attack social norms or religious separation. Art can be seen being used by the monarchy themselves in order to elevate their own status. Portraiture has always been an art form used to show off wealth and power. It wasn't anything new to Europe. Just as the Romans made detailed sculptures for people of prestige, within the Middle Ages, these royals were putting their face on everything. From the windows to the walls, rulers wanted to show their divine connection to God, which inexplicably set them apart from the rest of the world. Window portraits, while not representative of anyone in particular, gave the look of a king showcasing his power with the scepter, crown, big robes, and jewels. It's your stereotypical idea of a king. And the skeleton of the window, giving the face symmetry, but disrupting it enough that it isn't anyone in particular. And then when you look up at it in all its glory, you fill in the rest for who it's supposed to be. There was sculpture as well, just like the Romans. Europe still saw its fair share of vandalism towards these sculptures. The French kings didn't fare too well, as you can imagine. Portraiture depictions didn't stay exclusive to kings and queens. Religious icons were put up all over by the church to remind you that God is watching. Ugh. Moving on. By the Renaissance, portraiture had evolved to give not just the image of a person, but to show their presence as well. It aimed to connect the subject to the rest of the world. While early painted portraiture remained for religious figures, over time that changed for kings and queens to want to depict themselves with their perfect skin, amazingly symmetrical proportions, and regal attire, to show that they were people too, you know. The idea of looking good equaling status stuck around for a while. Going back in time, we can see that portraits were done of royalty from a very young age. Prince Henry can be seen here before the age of 16. And here, a few years later, at the age of 16. Prince Henry can be seen looking away, only the left side of his face. While riding into battle, Prince Henry is struck with an arrow to the right side of his face. He stayed and fought till the battle was won. And his surgeon, John Bradmore, did the impossible, removing the arrowhead by probing the open wound and sticking honey in it, saving his life but leaving a nasty scar. His face was said to be disfigured on the right side, as there was not much in the field of bone reconstruction at the time. From this point on, he is seen only showing the left side of his face in every contemporary portrait done of him. This comes from an insecurity of showing weakness from his scar. But don't worry, Henry, your left side always was your good side. Probably. So how does the political agenda of the past differ from now? And how well does the art stand the test of time? Well, the darker qualities we see in most political art from that time has fallen to the wayside to a more cartoony style that we see today. The stubbornness of the social inequity issues they faced then still rears its ugly head today. Thankfully, however, progress in these areas has been significant. As for the ego-stroking aspect seen within portraiture of the past, that's something I don't think we'll be getting rid of anytime soon.